Yep, today's fun project. All right, you guys ready for another fun project? We've got a 98 Nissan Maxima here. Service engine light came on. This is a 4th generation Maxima. They went from 96 to 99. They all have the same 6-cylinder V6 engines. Anyway, put the scan tool on there. It came up with trouble code P0400. That's the EGR malfunction flow. So basically the exhaust gas recirculation has an issue. The engine takes exhaust gases and cycles them through and reburns them through the intake. It also keeps combustion chamber temperatures down a little bit and reduces the emissions. Anyway, got a problem with it, so I want to show the steps that I went through. I've already pulled the EGR tube out, and I'll show you guys where it's kind of located. It's hard for me to film down in there, but I'll show you exactly what's going on, and hopefully that'll give you a better understanding. So we're at the front of the car, driver's side. I've got the air box out, the air filter's gone, there's the throttle body. And I want to show where the EGR location is. So as best I can, right down in here where I'm pointing, back in there is the EGR valve. There's also a solenoid down over this way, down in there. And there's a tube that runs from behind the valve up back here to the intake. Right here is the harness connector for the EGR temperature sensor, which I already have removed. So that's located right here on this spot. Get you in close. It's a 2-pin. You just push this tab underneath here. Show the tab right down there. You push that and pull out and you got it. But let me show you some steps and tricks I did to get that stuff out. Over here on the bench, there's the air box. You got the mass airflow sensor. Alright, there's your air filter. Here's the tube that generally has the issue with that code. This is in the car basically like this, so it sits in there exactly like this. This port here is for the EGR temperature sensor, which I showed you the connector. Here's the other half. This is the male half, that's the female. Anyway, this sensor determines by temperature, or it actually, what it does is it's a thermistor, and it tells the ECM basically if there's exhaust gas flowing, then this will heat up. It changes the resistance. The computer can monitor that, and then it knows that everything's functioning properly, that the EGR valve is opening and all that good stuff. So the problem was, and I have video of it, that this end, the upper end, was completely clogged. And here's some of the junk that I got out of it. I got this carbon as hard as a rock. Some of this was inside the intake also. So I've got video of that. I'll show you guys that. Anyway, this temperature sensor threads into this here. It fits in there, and I've got video of how I get that out, but I'm going to show you right now. Let's just do that. Okay, so that's in there like that. Of course, I don't have it tightened all the way. And what I did was, it's a 12 millimeter, and I got a deep 12 millimeter socket at AutoZone for like $5, and I ground a notch in. Hopefully I'll get that video into the to this video, the footage I took. So I cut a groove in there with a grinder. And what you're able to do is, while this is in the car, you can easily slide the wire through there, and then get your socket right onto the sensor, just like this, right there. And then you can put a 3/8 extension on the end and twist this right out, break it free. Then you can reach down in there once it's loose and just unscrew it. So when I took this out, it had all kinds of carbon and gunk on here. Oh, that's ugly. I cleaned all that off. And what I did to test this was, went in the house, I boiled water. Boiled a pot of water. I had an ohm meter. I put the ohm meter test up here, leads on here. And when this went into 212 degrees boiling water, the ohms were about 80. I think it went up to about 80, 85. I think the normal range is 75 to 90. So I know that this is functioning properly. When it's at room temperature, it's open right here. Zero ohms. Nothing reading outer limits, OL. So just so you know, that's how that works. The carbon was really built up in here. I hope I can get that into the video, show you that. So I cleared it out. Down below was pretty good. Wasn't bad. I've got new gaskets on order right here. Hopefully I'll get those in and give you the part number. And we'll take it from there. So basically, let's go back in time. I'll show you some of the footage I shot, and I hope it helps you out. We'll get back to the end. I'll put everything back together, put it in, we'll test it, we'll start it up, and we'll take it from there. So since I can't show you exactly how it sits in the car because it's too tight to film, this thing is on the engine like this. So here's where the sensor goes in. This thing is fitting in here like this. And there's two bolts down at the bottom. They're 12 millimeter nuts. 12 millimeter nuts. I had to grind off the stud a little bit on this side to get past the EGR tube pipe. And then you got two 12 millimeter bolts right here, which are on the back. These are pretty easy to get to. They sit right in here. You got two right there like that. And then you got the temperature sensor right in here. Took some wire and I shoved wire through here as best I could. It seemed to go downwards and clear this part out, but here's the part that it didn't get. This is kind of what it should look like. Now this hasn't been cleaned yet. Let's take a closer look. See that center hole? I think I got it. There you go. See that? And here's the top. This is where they clog most of the time. Put this here so we can get a good view of it. Plug solid. This, I can hold my flashlight steady. There you go. This right here is completely solid. Full of carbon, sludge, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to scrape it all out, clean it with some B12 chem tool, get that stuff. This stuff here works great on carbon. If you have carbon, get some of this stuff here. Works good. You can get it at one of the big box auto place stores. Walmart might have it. Anyway, so that's there. And then I put my observation light on the back here, or mirror back here, and looked inside where this sits, and it's completely clogged also on the other side. So we got to clean it all out. So the P0400 measures said, you know, low EGR flow. So that would definitely be low flow. It wasn't lying. The sensor's good, and hopefully that'll help somebody out. I'll clean it all out, put it back together. I wish I could show you, but I just can't. It's just too tight. I can tell you what I did do to make the job a little easier. I took off the air box, the mass airflow sensor. That was, you know, it's relatively easy. Popped out the air filter, which sits right here, right under this mat. There's the throttle body. So that allowed me to get back down in here where I needed to work, which it's about back in there where the light is. I just can't get it. I can't show it to you. I wish I could. And then to get those two top bolts, I went down through here to 212 millimeters where the thing's blocked. Right up here, that flange. I went down through here with my ratchet, 3/8 ratchet with a 12 millimeter. And that's pretty much it. Pop the, there's the fuel filter. I moved that out of the housing, out of the bracket, which sits right here, just to give me a little more room. And that gave me enough clearance. It's tight. It didn't take too long. I mean, I have experience at it though. You can do it. Take your time. Don't let this guy mess up your day. Oh, because he will. That's how he is, right, Chaos? Well, here's how I'm cleaning it out. I got a small screwdriver. I've been scraping this stuff here, this loose stuff, or this hard stuff. There's a pile of it. All this black carbon has come out. And I'm going to take a piece of wire, a piece of copper wire here, and I'm going to go through these ports. I'm going to go through where the temperature sensor sits. I'm going to force it through, and we're going to make sure that this thing is clear. So there's more stuff that's still coming out, so I'll keep working on it. I'll show you when it's done. You could take a piece of cable, like a 1/4 inch cable or an 1/8 inch cable. You have a piece of that, and just keep pushing through. Get it all nice and clean. Let's take a peek now. That looks a little better. I made sure that this was the side that was really bad, where the sensor goes in, right through here. All right, here's another trick that can help you out. On the lower part of the pipe where the two nuts are, that's down here, there's two 12 millimeter nuts that sit on it, that bolt to, there's two washers. There's a spacer, a washer, and a nut on both sides at the bottom. Anyhow, that stud I told you about needs to be cut back a little bit. I took a Dremel tool and just sliced it back about an 1/8 inch. Worked great. But what I did was to slip that in there. It's stuck between this and the EGR pipe is right over in this area, in front of it. So you got to get up behind there. So what I did was take this cheapo 12 millimeter combination wrench I had, and to thin it up, I just put it on the grinder. Put it on the grinder right here. You can grind it any way you want, and I made this narrower. So I took about an 1/8 or 1/16 off each side, and that allowed me to get in there, fit in there, and pop that one off. This one, you've got to do it to. This one you can get to with the 12 millimeter socket. You can also get these out with the socket. So the only one you're going to need the wrench on is this guy right here. So cut that stud that's sticking out. You could use a hacksaw, I guess. It would take you a little bit of time, but I only took off maybe an 1/8 inch. And that allowed me to fit this up in there between this and the pipe. Good to go. So that's one of Ozzstar's little hints to help your day go by just a little bit smoother. On to the next step. I think I can get this on camera for you. You can see where that pipe goes in. All right. Right there. That's where that flange is. There's a gasket there. I'll replace that. The two bolt holes are there. And right in the middle, right there, that black center, that's where the carbon's all clogged up. So let's get that cleared out. Hopefully you guys can see it. Let me zoom in a little bit. That's good. Right there. It's plugged solid. No good. All right. All cleared out now. Put a small screwdriver, like a 3-inch, 4-inch screwdriver. Got that plug. It took a big dump. Oh yeah, it dropped a deuce. And what I did was I pried the carbon out towards me. Well, not towards me, but towards the windshield, so it would pop out and not get pushed into the intake. So
that junk's not down in there. And then I sprayed some of the carb cleaner. So we'll get the gaskets, put it in. We'll see what happens. Got the upper gasket and the lower gasket for the EGR tube. So here's the new Velcro. We got 70893. That's going to be for the upper. And then 70885 Velcro for the lower. This one's the oval shape and this one's more diamond shape. They are a little bit different in size as far as the hole spacing. So let's get it in.
Got it all hooked up now. Let's give it a test. We'll see how it goes. So far so good. Now I'm going to check for any vacuum leaks. I'm feeling around by the EGR tube, see if I feel any pressure from the exhaust leak, or if there is any exhaust leaks. While the engine's still cold. Feels good, feels good. Let's back this out. Now once the engine comes off of the high idle, when it goes into closed loop, I'll put my hand down on that EGR valve and I'll push up on the diaphragm. We'll see if it wants to stall out. If it wants to stall, that's a good thing. Give it a few minutes, we'll be back. Alright, so it's running. It's in closed loop now. That means it's warmed up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger up under the diaphragm and I'm going to blip the throttle. The diaphragm should come up. You should feel movement. And then what I'll do is once it comes back down to idle, I'll push up on the diaphragm. We should hear the engine stall. Hopefully you can hear it. Okay, I feel the EGR valve moving. The diaphragm blips a little bit. Now I'm going to push up on the EGR. There we go. It actually did stall. Beautiful. That's another fun project completed. Well, the EGR temperature sensor tube's all cleared out. You heard the engine stall, or stumble then stall. So that's a good thing. That means those gases are flowing. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for the next video. It's a Nissan exterior torsion bar that's being replaced. I hope it processes soon. It's been about 10 days I've had it loaded on YouTube. But anyway, don't forget to comment and like. Thanks for watching. This one's down the road. Take it easy.